We've spent a lot of time talking about the Seahawks hiring of Klint Kubiak.
More than any other coordinator ever.
I would say so. And
Shoddy.
we've talked to everybody, it feels like, who knows this guy. People who, worked with him, played around him, etc.
Mm-hmm.
How about finding the guy who probably, I would assume, knows him best? I would hope there aren't that many people that know him better. Gary Kubiak, father of Klint, kind enough to take a few minutes with us. Of course, longtime NFL head coach. Gary, good morning. Thanks for taking a few minutes with us. We appreciate it.
Oh, good morning, guys. Thanks for having me. I tell you what, his mom probably knows him best. I should probably have her on here.
Fair.
Do you want to hand her the phone after
Yeah.
like 5 minutes or so? Is she around?
She runs away from football. She's enough of it.
I don't blame her. Tell us what we need to know. Tell us, before we dig into Klint Kubiak, the offensive coordinator, who was Klint Kubiak, the kid?
Obviously when you're coaching, as long as I did, your kids grow up around it. I always took them to camp. They worked camp and did all those type of things. So they've always been around ball. You never know, what path they're going to take in life. But loved playing. Was a good high school athlete. Went off to Colorado State. Had some good things happen and had some injuries late in his career. And I'll be damned once he get into coaching. So, but he, guys, he's been around some good people. I mean, he started at Texas A&M, working for Sumlin Sherman, worked with Kingsbury side by side with Cliff for a couple of years. Been around some really good coaches in the NFL, and Norv Turner, Kyle, really good offensive mind. So he's been around some good people, good kid, works really hard, but everybody's got to have great people around him to be successful. So I'm looking forward to watching things over there. I know Mike very well, and I'm a big fan of his, so I'm looking forward to being a fan as well.
Did you know that you were going to coach, Gary, when you were backing up Elway for all of those years?
Yeah,
Did you know?
Brock, when I got to the end of my career, first off, that's what I had planned on doing before I, ended up tripping on a 10-year career. So I thought I was going to coach and teach. So that was my plan, and then I ended up playing for a while. And toward the end of my career, Coach Reeves offered me an opportunity to stay there, get into coaching with him. But I thought it was important that I go get my start somewhere and work my way up. So I came back here to A&M, where I went to school, and that's where I got my start as a coach.
We have talked to, I can't tell you how many people over the last week or two about, this offense, and the number of people that refer to it as the Kubiak system is fairly staggering. What is the foundation of the Kubiak system?
Oh, I think, I grew up with the 49ers. That's where I got my start in coaching. So, Bill Walsh's system there. And, of course, Mike Shanahan was there. And then Mike went to Denver, and I went with him. And I was with Mike for 14 years as a coordinator. And, those things don't happen nowadays. Guys don't stay in one place that long and work together that long. So I would just say through the years, with Alex Gibbs, our line coach, and the zone scheme, Mike, we all developed a system that's held true for many years. And then all these bright young minds have kind of, moved off in their own directions, whether it's Kyle, whether it's LaFleur, whether it's Macdonald, all these guys have moved off in their direction and put their spin on it. So, that's where my roots come from. Kyle's dad, Mike, was probably the biggest influence on my career. Well, I know he was.
So how has Klint evolved this system? What is his particular spin on it?
Well, being with me, obviously I see all of those traits and stuff, but I see a big influence from Kyle. Klint was with him that year. They went to the Super Bowl a couple of years ago, sitting there game planning with him every day, watching him call games. I see a huge influence from that standpoint. But at the same time, you have to have a system in place, and but then you've got to be able to branch off. You got to do what your guys do best. So, for me, it's fun to watch. He went through a lot in New Orleans last year, which is going to make him a better coach. They lost a ton of players. They had to figure out from Wednesday to Sunday how they're going to try to figure out how to move the ball, and that makes you better in the long haul. But it's my understanding, and I know Mike very well. I think he wants to run the football, and I think in the NFL, if you play good defense and run the ball, you got a chance every week.
Gary Kubiak here with us, a Super Bowl champ, as a player, as a coach as well. You've referenced that now a couple times, that you know Mike really well, Mike Madonald. Talk to us about that. Where was some of those connections built?
Yeah, I'll tell you where it was for me, guys. I was in Baltimore. I was a coordinator for Harbaugh 1 year after Houston let me go, and I went there, and we had a really good team, had a really good year. But Mike was John's guy, or the defensive side of the ball's guy, the right-hand man. He was a young coach that they had went and got from Georgia. And so I was there, watching that take place. And then Jay Harbaugh, guys, worked for me. I mean, Jay was my right-hand man. He did everything for me. Title, I think, was offensive assistant, but I can tell you right now, he did everything for me. Great kid. And, you see these bright young minds, they're going to be good coaches, and all of a sudden you turn around and they're head coaches, So I think it's going to be fun to watch. I know they're not only really good coaches, but they're really good people. And that's all you can ask for, is good guys working their tail off to try to make something successful.
As we dig in here to kind of the off-season conversation, right, where we start talking through the draft and free agency and trades and just ways that the team will be built, as we talk about the offensive side of the ball, what qualities should we be thinking about that fit the Kubiak system, whether it's offensive line, quarterback, running back? What sort of things were you always looking for?
Well, I mean, I don't know. Well, we're just all looking for good football players, guys. I mean, there's rumors that we played with smaller offensive linemen, and those type of things. We play with the fullback. We do. But the bottom line is, I mean, you got to do what your team does best. And, you're always trying, I would say, answer that question this way. You're always trying to be built where you have the ability to do a lot of things. You can't pigeonhole yourself. We're a 3-wide team, or, we're a 2-back team. You can't do that, because in the NFL, so many things happen from week to week. You've got to be flexible when you're attacking people. So what you have to have is a great system in place that allows you to branch off in a lot of directions.
Hey, last couple things for me. I love going back down history's kind of road. Yeah. And you mentioned your years there with Bill Walsh and Mike Shanahan, and I know a lot of that West Coast nomenclature. That's kind of where I cut my teeth in the league. But I am always fascinated by the role that Alex Gibbs played in that. And, I just don't think he ever gets the credit. As Mike said, the Kubiak system, the Shanahan system, all of these, LaFleur and the names that you mentioned. But at the root of so much of that, to me, was the role that Alex Gibbs played at the line of scrimmage. Can you speak to some of that?
Oh, absolutely, Brock. Bless his soul. We lost him a couple of years ago, but, Alex is the guy that, he was the straw that stirred the drink. Is that the way they say it? I mean, yep. He was amazing. Alex came to Denver with Mike Shanahan when Dan Reeves was the head coach. Coach Reeves went and got Mike and Alex out of college football and brought them to pro football. And then together they headed out through their path, Denver, various situations. And Alex came with me to Houston. But Alex Gibbs, one of the greatest football coaches National Football League's ever seen, but he was never a head coach, and you know how that works. So you don't hear about him much. But, it's up front that makes things go. It's a great offensive line and a line coach that helps you as a play caller, help you call the game by saying, Brock, by saying, hey, keep me in a left formation. I can protect this week, turn to this guy. We can protect this week. Let's attack this guy in the run game. Every offensive coordinator needs a really, really sharp offensive line coach who can help him prepare to call a football game. And I know I leaned on Alex for many, many years, as well as Mike.
So I'm going to guess that will be kind of the next pivotal step for Klint here in Seattle. In talking to some of the folks over there, I know that they're busy trying to work and complete that staff around him. From your perspective, how vital would that be? And will Gary Kubiak be in consideration for the O-line coaching job in Seattle?
No, I'm going to keep feeding these cows out here, Brock. But that's always that's always extremely important, because guys. You look at all these great minds and offensive coordinators in calling games, and if you dig deep, all of these guys have somebody up front working for them or working with them that are their biggest source. I mean, I can sit here, I called plays in the NFL for 30 years, and I can tell you right now, I relied on my offensive line coach. I relied on Alex at the end of every week to sit down with me and give me some directions on the best way for me to call the game so that I could protect the quarterback and I could run the football. And when he gave me those things in place, then it allowed me to call plays. The pass game and stuff, I felt good. I had a lot of people around me. But from that standpoint, there's no better feeling than knowing you have that person in place. And, I just think it's as big a piece as there is on our coaching staff.
So you got a big moment. You're in the game. You drop back to pass. The game is on the line. You look around the field. You see Vance Johnson, Mark Jackson, Ricky Nattiel, Clarence Kay, and Sammy Winder. Where's the ball going?
Well, to be honest with you, that wasn't me dropping back. That was the other guy.
Well, I'm putting you in the position like maybe something happens. He gets hurt. You've got to come in. They go from number 7 to number 8. You're in there. Who are you throwing the ball to?
It's interesting. We had some really good teams back in those days. We came close, went to some Super Bowls, didn't make it happen. But, John and I grew up in the Dan Reeves system. And, guys, I'll tell you how far football has come. Brock, when we ran offensively, Odd was to the right and Even was to the left because Tom Landry devised offensive football by standing on the defensive side. So he was looking at everything backwards. So, to be honest with you, for me and John, it took us about 2 years to get used to Dan calling 19 and the ball was going right. You know what I mean? So it's amazing how far football's come. But, man, I had a good time playing, great time coaching, many, many memories. And I look forward to seeing you guys when I get down there to watch.
Yeah, that is awesome. Can I leave you with this? This was a text.
You ever get tackled by Carl Mecklenburg in practice?
Oh, yeah.
How'd that feel?
Not very good. Back in those days when we tackled in practice and stuff.
I'm going to read you a text here. You got to get back to your cattle out there, but you'll like this one. This is from one of your former players who texted me during the show here. He said, Coach Kubiak was one of my all-time favorite head coaches I ever played for. Very much a player's coach. He worked us hard, but he rewarded us greatly. So there you go. Go feed them cattle and know that, man, you made a great impact on a lot of people, and we look forward to getting to know your boy. And hopefully we'll see you at training camp.
Hey,